Fam, what's up? What's up? How you doing? Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. Coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Call line is now open, 205-850-1994. Let me know where you're coming from inside the comment box. We already got a caller on. We'll take that in just a second. Let me get everything kind of set up and fancy. I have to switch out kind of the background so everything is formatted correctly. Venmo at the bottom of your right if you're watching on your TV. And, Venmo pinned at the top. So I appreciate you. What's up, Adam Bunch? I see you inside the comment box. Let's get to it. Let's do work. Let's continue to do work right here on Bama Football on YouTube. What's up, Gil? I see you inside the comment box. And we will take our first call. We'll start right now. It's at 325. Hey, good evening. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with and where are you calling in from?
This is Vic, and I'm calling in from Abilene, Texas again.
Vic, what's up, man? Double dipping. I appreciate it, man. I enjoyed our last conversation. We've been streaming all day, and it's all good. We got to talk Alabama football, man. Like, the season is approaching. There's no time to waste. We're knee deep in it, man. So go ahead, Vic. Take it away, man.
Man, I was wondering, when you were talking about the inside linebackers, I was wondering if Kendrick Blackshear might make a push for that starting spot. You been hearing anything about him? Or?
You know what? It's been interesting about Kendrick Blackshear, and I think I mentioned this on, another time I was on recently, and we're on the line with Vic calling from Texas. With Kendrick Blackshear, I haven't really heard too much about him. And that doesn't mean to say that, he's performing poorly or anything like that. It's just sometimes we don't get detail on some of these guys. And right now, when you look at that first team inside linebacker spot, I think you guys or Alabama has Deontay Lawson as a solidified starter. And then after that, I think you got to go with Freshmen Marshall or Jahad Campbell. I think those are the two guys who are, vying for that spot at the inside linebacker spot. Kendrick Blackshear, I'm sure he's probably there in like the 2 deep or the 3 deep. But, remember when he was coming out of high school, like those photos? Like the dude looked like he was ready to go to the NFL. Remember that, Vic?
Yeah. He's jacked, dude.
Dude is jacked, and, maybe he can at some point, put it together and get on the field. But he's been here a while and just hasn't, quite gotten under the field yet. Sometimes it takes a little bit long for these guys to kind of progress and to get there, but I was kind of expecting him to, fight for that spot because I think, outside of Deontay Lawson, the inside linebacker spot is kind of up for grabs. But, it looks like Freshmen Marshall and Jahad Campbell were the guys repping on this past Saturday scrimmage. What else you got, Vic?
Man, if I'm saving, I'm going to go with Jahad Campbell. Is that how you say it?
Jahad
Campbell. Okay. I'm going to go with him just for the fact that I don't want a Georgia transfer starting for my team after, I wouldn't do that.
Look, the guys over here, you have another starter, over here from Georgia. You got Jermaine Burton. All right.
Yeah.
On the offensive side of the ball, call line is open, fam. 205-850-1994 is the call line. We're on with Vic right now. I don't think that matters, man. Like once these guys get over here and like now we're in such a world of like transfer portals in and out and guys with NIL deals. It's like free agency. Yeah. We're living in it. And look, the guys are going to transfer in, they're going to transfer out. But I think once they get on campus, like I'm sure, Freshmen Marshall still talks to some of the guys from Georgia. Maybe not right now because they're in camp. But, look, he's here in Tuscaloosa, and I think he'll do a fine job this season if he is, in fact, the guy inside backer.
So if we switch to the receiver position, I think there's in my opinion, there's better young talent that's more important to develop right now than to start someone who's not producing at a higher level. They're producing, but not at the Bama standard. If you ask me, that's my opinion.
Yeah, it's just kind of disappointing that we've gotten to this point where, we're kind of, we're not ragging on the wide receivers. Just like, these guys need to be performing at a higher level. And I think our standards, exactly. Like our standards here at Alabama, extremely high at the wide receiver position, really every single position. Cause you could see, now I think Alabama has a first round pick or whatever at every single position. Right. And man, the wide receivers, like we're so accustomed to like this greatness, and it seems like it's kind of like teetered off a little bit after I guess Jamison Williams and John Mechie left the building. But maybe this is that year that you have Malik Benson come in. I don't know, man. I guess we're just going to have to see if he's able to kind of be that impact player that we think he could be.
Yeah, I think Brooks is going to show himself to be a true number one. And probably going to go first round, if you ask me. If he balls out like I think he will, he's probably going to go first round.
I don't know, man. I kind of disagree with that. I just don't know if he has that elite speed. Now, I could very well be wrong. I would love to see it for him. The one thing that I will give Ja'Cory Brooks is the fact that he does have, like, he's clutch. Right. I mean, you look back at the game against
that Auburn.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of it's funny how we kind of like forget that. But I mean, he came through 100% in a clutch time in a huge game.
I think he wasn't he a freshman or sophomore I think he was a freshman. Maybe when
I guess he might have been, right? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's been a little bit of time, but that was a clutch situation. I mean, that was Bryce Young's Heisman moment, right? Leading Alabama down the field and coming through to Ja'Cory Brooks. But, look, there's talent there. It's not like there's not talent there. I think they just have to utilize that talent, and these guys just have to get into the field. I'm sure the wide receiver room is just like, oh, you wait, everyone's talking. So maybe the wide receivers just come out and ball out. Wouldn't it be amazing if the first game of the season, like Jalen Milroe drops like 350 yards and like 6 touchdowns? Yeah, the headline reads, Milroe leads Bama past Middle Tennessee, 6 different receivers catch touchdowns. Right? It's like,
man, I remember that was happening with Mac Jones, man. He was lighting it up.
Put this inside the comment box. How about this? What is a likely headline to read after Alabama and Middle Tennessee play? What is a likely headline? Vic, I'm going to move to my next caller, man, but I appreciate the support from Texas. Call again anytime, man. I always got room for you. In fact, let me, before you bounce out, let me get your number on here. You don't have to say it out loud. I got you on my system. I just want to make sure that I get all my callers on a regular basis so I can contact them to inform them about live shows and whatever. So I appreciate it, man. I appreciate the support, and thanks for calling in from the Lone Star State.
Yes, sir. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide to you, man. Take it easy. All right, that was our buddy Vic batting leadoff. We got a 302 in the call queue, and we'll go right to it. Hey, you're on the line with Kyle Henderson.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
That.
Yeah, you're good, man. It's all good.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good, man. Who are we on the line with, and where are you calling from?
Ashton Woods from Wilmington, Delaware.
All right. Did you say Ashton?
Yeah, Ashton, ASHTO1, Ashton.
Okay, got you, man, from Delaware. I think this is our first ever caller from Delaware. I love it, man. So what's on your mind, man? Take it away.
Glad to be here. One thing about Alabama football that I'm really excited to see is, honestly, I'm excited to see how Nick Saban, how he chooses to go about the quarterback situation. I think you make a very good case to start either Jalen Milroe or Ty Simpson. But if we're going to talk about, experience and what this team needs right now, and that's what the team needs is experience, I think you got to go Jalen Milroe. It's on the tape. He had, I think it was about 3 or 4 starts last year. They were very promising. His ups, his downs, like you have with any quarterback. But he showed real promise, and I'm really excited to see what he does this year. And I think he takes the QB1 spot, and I even think he pushes for a trip to New York. I know it's a real hot take, but for some reason I see the talent. I see the ability. I just, I see it in him. So hopefully he's the next great Alabama quarterback this year.
I think when you look to this Alabama quarterback room, you look to the guys who are currently, here and performing, and I just, it's hard for me with, to think that Jalen Milroe just can't get the job done here. Can we rewind to last year? And I know that last year doesn't mean anything this year, but and I asked Jimbo this during SC Media Days. I was like, how is it preparing for Jalen Milroe? Because he recruited Jalen Milroe as well at Texas A&M. And to be able to go against him, was challenging. And what he presents, and I mean, you heard that, David Pollack's talking about Alabama's offensive coordinator today, Tommy Rees, and had a lot of positive things to say about him. I just think that, Milroe is going to fit right into that system. I think they got the tight ends. I mean, Milroe should have, a really dynamic season. Let me tell you this. Let me ask you this. When you were watching Texas A&M in the Arkansas game, what were your thoughts of Jalen Milroe?
Honestly, I think his the way he throws the ball, he's very tight in his frame. But I don't think it's too big of a crutch to him because he still was able to get out the pocket, make plays in the pockets. He broke the big run against Arkansas, and that's when I was like honestly, that's when it snapped into me because it's just like I know we've had mobile quarterbacks in the past, but like for him to just like he's fast, and I love how fast he is, and just like honestly. Like when he puts it all together, like you said, I just can't see him not getting it done.
Yeah, on the line with.
I loved him when I first watched it. I loved watching this game.
No, absolutely, yeah, me too. He's like kind of like that player that you create, when you're playing NCAA football. Remember how we used to be able to create the players, and then like that was the guy that we had. And by the way, I can't wait. I've been playing. I actually got Madden, the new Madden, and I've been playing a couple times. Played with Bryce Young. It was nice. My team was the 49ers, but. Yeah, Jalen Milroe is that guy. Clearly. Milroe is that guy. I want, more fans. And I think fans are starting to come around and kind of get behind him. And there's no, division. It's so frustrating sometimes when there's, a division of fans against one of their own players. It makes no sense to me. It's like, you got to support your guy if you're a fan. Like, I get it. You can have an opinion. And we all want the best player on the team. There's no seniority-led, starters. Like, the best player has to play. If it was Dylan Lonergan was really better than Jalen Milroe, then play Dylan Lonergan. But I don't think that's the case right now. I don't think any quarterback has really set themselves apart other than Jalen Milroe just kind of, proven that he can still retain that number one position. Ashton, what else you got, man? Calling all the way from Delaware.
Another thing I have is honestly what people are underestimating is the talent we have at receiver and running back. A lot of people talk about number 3 from Georgia.
Burton, Jermaine Burton
right now.
Jermaine Burton.
Yeah, Jermaine Burton. Honestly, he's very promising. He's not like the flashy receivers that we're used to, but he's a receiver that can make a play when we need it. And also you have Kobe Prentice, who we've seen for the past, I think it's 1 or 2 years. Is it going on 2 years?
Yeah, this will be his second year. He's a sophomore.
Okay, and he had the speed. So I think we kind of designate lining them up in the slot, seeing how, because I know we still run a lot of option, we run a lot of RPOs, so seeing how they weave out in that particular system, I'm really excited to see what the receivers can do. And then in the backfield, we have Jace McClellan, and then we have Roydell Williams, we have Jam in the backfield, and then we also have the freshman Justice Haynes. And I've seen some of his workout videos, some of the little clips that are posted on YouTube from spring camp and whatnot. He looks very, very promising, and I see a lot of people saying that he'll be on the field a lot early on, and I really cannot see why him and Jace McClellan couldn't be one of the top running back duos in the country. And then also in the red zone, you have a guy like Roydell Williams, who a lot of his touches came from in that 20-yard lane and whatnot. So you have those type of guys in the backfield, and a lot of people aren't talking about it. So when I see all these rankings and they have Alabama so low, I think it was they were out of the top 4 for the first time in years, and I'm just sitting there we have talent and there's potential on this team. I think people are just so used to Alabama winning year in and year out, whether it's back to back or every other year, that when we do lose, people start to panic. And there's no need to panic with this Alabama football team. This Alabama football team has power, has speed. The defense, I've been watching the defensive line in the camp videos. The defensive line, they are monsters. They're fast. They're hungry. They're ready to go. Kool-Aid McKinstry, he's due for a breakout year. All the DBs in that area. Caleb Downs, the freshman, we have talent. So I don't mean to ramble, but I just know that this Alabama team is special, and they're going to do something big this year.
Yeah, I think you bring up some good points. I mean, first of all, we appreciate the call, all the way up from Delaware. It's good to get, different points of view from different parts of the country. And I think it just goes to show the brand of Alabama football, right? Like Coach Saban was up in Italy and he was getting Roll Tides. Like it's no surprise that Alabama has fans all the way up in New York. Earlier today, we had someone call from Lexington. Now you from Delaware. I'm sure here in a few we'll have, a caller from LA. Now, LA in Alabama doesn't mean like Los Angeles. It means lower Alabama, which is really interesting. So it's like, if you meet someone in Alabama and they tell you, hey, I'm from LA, don't just hold on because they're probably from like Foley or Fairhope or Mobile. So I learned that quickly because I used to live in Los Angeles. And then when I came over here, I was like, oh, okay. LA means lower Alabama. Jermaine Burton. Look, I mean, when you look to the Alabama football stats, I'm going to bring them up from 2022. Ashton, you bring up some good points about the wide receiver play. And when you look to the wide receivers that were the biggest contributors that are returning to this coming season, you quickly see that it was Burton and it was Prentice. So for stats sakes and Brooks. So you have Jermaine Burton, who had 677 yards with 7 touchdowns. And then you had Ja'Cory Brooks, who had 674 yards with 8 touchdowns. And then you had Kobe Prentice as a true freshman, played in 13 games, and he had 337 yards. So those are your guys, and all those guys are returning. Look, I think there are, that's a good nucleus that you have returning back, but, they need to stop the drops. And I guess we'll have to see as we move forward during week 1, which already starts next week. What else you got, Ashton, while you're on the line?
Honestly, I just want to say thank you for allowing me to hop on here. This is my first time doing it. I was actually, scrolling through on YouTube just trying to watch football because I'm a coach's assistant up at Delaware State University, so I'm just always watching Alabama football. Yeah. I aspire to be a head coach one day. So, it was just wanted to get on here and talk ball. And also, I would like to give a shout out to my sister, Ashley Woods. She's known down in the Alabama community for her, her media work and all that. So just want to give a shout out to my sister, Ashley Woods.
All right. So a couple things before you bounce out. All right. First of all, Miss Ashley, continue to do your thing. Go chase your goals. And for you, Ashton, look, I'm big on mentorship. And I think one of the things that has helped me get to where I'm at, 2 things. Number 1, consistency. You got to be consistent. And I think the more consistent you are, the more things that you can control your own output, right? And you can control your own consistency. We talk a lot about that consistency. And the other thing is, you just really have to like manifest some of these things, man. So it's good to hear that you have goals, stay with those goals, and, love the mentorship. Coaching is mentorship, right? And, of course, we want to all like coach. But I mean, the biggest thing for Coach Saban, besides winning national championships, is like mentoring, young athletes. And I think, that's part of it. And even coaches, too. I mean, can you imagine like Coach Saban, 72, Tommy Rees is 30, right? He probably looks at Tommy Rees as like a baby. So, it's all about the mentorship, man. But Ashton, anytime you want to call, man, call in. We appreciate you calling up from Delaware, and you have a good night.
Hey, you too. Thank you for allowing me to get on here. I appreciate it. I'll definitely be calling back.
All right, man. Take it easy. All right, Ashton calling all the way up from Delaware. Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. Definitely hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. If you have a question, you could also drop it inside the comment box. Now would be a good time to do that. Call-in line is open if you guys want to call. I'd love to take your call tonight to talk some Alabama football as we continue to navigate closer to the college football season. You got some games taking place this weekend. You got my beloved New Mexico State Aggies taking on UMass. I think that game's actually on ESPN. So that's going to be pretty awesome to see the Aggies roll. What was crazy is, so I went to school in a couple of different places. So I lived in Iowa, and I went to Central College. It's south of Des Moines. Beautiful little city. Then I went to New Mexico State in Las Cruces. Then I lived in D.C. I attended the Washington Center program, so I lived out in D.C. And then I took a full-time job out in Los Angeles, so I lived in L.A. for a little while before moving back to New Mexico and running my own business. And then from there, I moved to Tuscaloosa. So I've been all over, and I think kind of within my travels, I've been able to meet some amazing people. And now live in beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I lived here which is crazy for 6 years covering the Alabama Crimson Tide. And when we started this YouTube channel, there was 0 subscribers. So we wanted to come in here and build something, that could be Alabama football centric. And then the YouTube channel caught fire. Actually, what helped the YouTube channel blow up, oddly enough, was a video on Colin Sexton. Remember the basketball player? He was unbelievable. And I'll never forget, kind of getting highlights of Colin Sexton. Colin line is open 205-850-1994. I was talking about a couple, additional aspects, kind of throughout the day, and kind of going over a couple of things that we are tracking here on Bama football on YouTube. And here's one of those graphics right now. And I'll kind of enlarge that so you guys can see it. Call line is open 205-850-1994. What we're tracking is, clearly the dropped passes. I think we've talked about that enough, and you guys know what a dropped pass is. The playmaking tight end, I think that's clearly going to be Amari Niblack, and no surprise there. I think that the guard position is something that we continue to look at because Coach Saban wants to provide more depth for that offensive line, and you're going to see Darian Dalcourt and Terrence Ferguson kind of rotate in and out at that guard position, along with Tyler Booker. I don't think Tyler Booker is going to rotate. I think the rotation is going to be just between Darian Dalcourt and Ferg. But who else is going to be there? Again, call-in line is open if you want to call and get your call in now, 205-850-1994. Kyle Henderson at Bama Football on YouTube. And then when we also look at that inside linebacker position, as we were talking, with Vic, who is going to be that inside linebacker that rises up? Is it going to be, Trezor Marshall, Jahad Campbell, or is it going to be, we know it's going to be Deontay Lawson. So those are some of the items that we are tracking on Bama football as we continue to navigate closer to week 1 of the college football season. A couple other pieces of notes that I wanted to bring up was when we look at some of these freshmen. I'll bring this. Bring up the freshman graphic because it's worth talking about the freshmen. Let me ask you this inside the comment box: which freshman, other than I don't think Jaron Hamilton will play much more than special teams. Do you feel that outside of Downs and Proctor and Haynes, which other freshmen do you feel that could get onto the field this season for Alabama? So think about all the freshmen and which guys do you think could contribute to this team? Or, maybe spot play a little bit. I would say Keon Keeley is going to get his number called. And we've talked about Yanzi Pierre right now. As soon as I get an update on how he's doing, we'll bring that to you. But I think Keely's ready. I think Quay Russo, that guy is so underrated. We haven't talked about him enough. Justice Haynes, certainly going to get his. And Caden Proctor, of course. He's starting, right? And then Caleb Downs. So those two official starters for Alabama. So next Monday when that depth chart comes out, it's definitely going to be Caleb Downs and Caden Proctor as listed as absolute starters. I could see in some, that Caden Proctor is slashed with Elijah Pritchett, but that wouldn't be that big of a deal because when you're at the University of Alabama, sometimes you have more than just one particular starter, right? Here's what we're tracking in terms of the good here at Alabama, and that starts with the defensive tackles. As I've mentioned, Coach Saban has been very high on the performance and production of Jaheim Otis and Tim Keenan, which has been great. Outside offensive line depth, I think that is trending more up. Jam Miller, once again, had another good performance. He's a guy that we continue to watch and want to highlight more as we talk about the running backs. Jalen Key and Trey Amos, both those guys contributing as transfers into the University of Alabama. Will Riker, completely on fire, doing a great job this season for Alabama. And I think I talked about this earlier today, but I want to point it out again when talking about Will Riker. He's played in 46 games there at the bottom of your screen, kind of the middle of your screen. 46 games played. He's made 62 of 75 field goals, with his longest field goal being 52 yards. In 2020, he hit a 52-yarder, being a part of that national title team. And in 2022, last season, he hit a 52-yarder. He was 84%. In 2020, the COVID year, he was 100%. Overall percentage is 82%. and he is the all-time leading field goal kicker. All-time leading scorer in Alabama history, which is really amazing to have him coming back. So let's not lose sight of special teams, just a very important part of the game, clearly. So we've talked about the freshmen. Before we go, let's do. We've been on here all day long. Let's do Saban's Bakery. How's the cake looking? As we've talked about many times, it looks like it's going to be Jalen Milroe as the announced starter. You got Ty Simpson, Tyler Buckner, Dylan Lonergan, Eli Holstein. I threw in Julian Sain as the committed prospect from the class of 2024. Such a dynamic weapon for Alabama, and if you haven't seen his highlights, you really need to check him out. Let me see if I have some highlights of him real quick, because he really was super impressive, on film, and he performed this past Friday night, and I was really impressed with what he brought to the table. I mean, the guy has good escapability, and I think that we've continued to see that from some of these quarterbacks that Alabama has had, and I think I can't find it right now, but I have another video where I talk about kind of, the quarterback and Caleb Odom, the tight end, who is just phenomenal. I mean, I really like those guys, each of them coming back for that class of 2024. And I know, right now the recruiting, Alabama's missed on some guys, but I mean, this class is, I love it so far, how it's coming together, the class of 2024. So you can watch those highlights. Just type in Julian Sain highlights and you can find it here on Bama Football. Well, fam, I appreciate you guys sticking with me all day long. Hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. I will recut this video, upload it. There's always content on Bama Football on YouTube. Tomorrow will be Wednesday, August 23rd. We will have Nick Saban in the evening time. We'll bring that to you right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama, Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube saying good night.